Hello, my name is Angel and welcome back to my channel. I am reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt for the first time. So in this vlog, you're going to get all kinds of updates about this book and also some snippets of the fall activities that I get up to. I hope you sit back, relax, and enjoy this vlog. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Let's get right into it. I've showered and this will be the first reading update of this vlog. I've got 11 minutes because I've got a pizza in the oven. It's Red Baron if you're curious. I always think about that Elijah Wood video where he talks about how much he loves frozen pizza, but that there's some frozen pizzas he won't touch. And I'm always like, Red Baron is probably one of those, and that's one of my favorites. So on to The Secret History. As you can see, I've already got a lot of tabs going on here. I am using this selection of tabs, but I'm focusing on the red, gold, and green for this book. I've come up a little bit with an annotating system here, though it's not perfect. I'm using, a lot of them overlap though, so that's interesting for things that I would want to, you know, mark anyway, so it's working out pretty good. I'm using green for Richard right now, and then gold for quotes or descriptions that I like, and then red for the group. And then I'm not really underlining, I'm more so just highlighting with this pretty, what is this color? This pretty color in one of those mild liners. Where does it say the shades? Oh, it's just a beige. It's just beige. Okay, so highlighting in beige, and I am enjoying this so far. The prologue definitely hooked me. You know who the murderers are when the story starts, but that makes the story unfolding before you so interesting. I am enjoying being in Richard's head. We are following Richard and this group of Greek students. Well, they're not Greek students. They are students studying Greek with this eccentric professor. He is a classics professor, and when Richard is enrolled in the school, he's told about him because Richard is like, I studied Greek at my old school, can I continue studying Greek here? And he's like, no, not really, because this guy is very selective, and you get the vibe that he's different and he's seen as different and not necessarily not liked by the faculty at the school. And of course this just piques Richard's curiosity. He is doing his best to become a part of this group. So that's one of my tabs here, is the description of the group. There's 5 of them and they all just seem different. This will be the first book that I've read by Donna Tartt, and I'm surprised that it's a very male-dominated book. We have one female character from that, you know, is going to play a role, it seems, and I don't know why that surprised me. It makes sense, I suppose, with it being like this elite school, that it is male dominated, and also it being, I don't know, a few decades ago, but still a little bit surprising. So yeah, it's a very male-dominated book, and with Dark Academia, yeah, very elitist and everything. So I am enjoying the vibes though. There are some beautiful descriptions of autumn. I love the description of the campus, and I have watched a few videos on Instagram of people going to places that they think are featured in the book based on these descriptions, and it's been such a vibe. The writing is beautiful, so when I say a lot of these tabs are overlapping, it's because of that. So a lot of the things I like, the quotes, the descriptions, yeah, it might be showing Richard's personality or a little bit of foreshadowing, but it's still such a wonderful quote. Same with the discussions that these students are having. So many good quotes come out of that, but it's still a part of the group. So I'm really tabbing it for the group if it is a quote that's involved in a group discussion where they're bouncing ideas off of one another, because I feel like that shows the dynamic they have. And then if it's just one quote, like from the classics professor Julian Morrow, I'll just put that as a tab with a quote that I like, because he is saying a lot of interesting stuff. Definitely some idolizing going on here, which is scary. It's giving me, you know, just not good vibes. So I wonder too, when people read this, do you read it more I don't know, do you read it like you want to be a part of this environment and swept into this charismatic literature type thing, or are you reading it as like a thriller? That is something that interests me about dark academia. So anyway, my thoughts, yeah, I'm loving the writing. I'm finding myself flipping the page. I'm experiencing these people the way that Richard describes them, and he is already, I would say, obsessed. He's already thinking about them a lot, even though he's saying he's not fixated on them. I wanted to read a few lines from page 13, which is when I realized I have to start annotating now so that I don't miss a quote. And he is talking about the campus and how these first few days he's happy. And he's looking around and he sees trees creaking with apples, fallen apples red on the grass beneath, the heavy, sweet smell of apples rotting on the ground, and the steady thrumming of wasps around them. Common's clock tower, ivied brick, white spire, spellbound in the hazy distance. The shock of first seeing a birch tree at night, rising up in the dark as cool and slim as a ghost, and the nights bigger than imagining, black and gusty and enormous, disordered and wild with stars. I feel like when I said stars then it sounded very country. Stars, but I just love that description. I'm loving picturing this school and the characters. I think that's been my favorite part so far. I am not far actually. I was gonna say I'm not that far, but I'm not far at all because this is a big book. I'm on page 42. Oh, another thing I wanted to say is that in my fall TBR video, I mentioned that I wanted to read I mentioned that I wanted to read Bunny by Mona Awad, and that it sounded to me like a Dark Academia book, but I hadn't seen it on Dark Academia lists, so I just knew of it as a weird book. And someone in the comments kindly let me know that it is a very popular Dark Academia book. And then after I got that comment, I'm seeing it on all kinds of Dark Academia lists. So it's weird how that happens, but it is making a lot of sense, especially reading this. I wonder, someone might know for this one as well in the comments below, if you do let me know, if the title Bunny and calling them the bunnies in that book is inspired by The Secret History, because we have a character in here called Bunny. So I guess I could Google that, but if you know, let me know. I know a lot of people love those stories, this one and Bunny, so yeah, just let me know. That is something I considered, because we've got the group Bunny. Oh, my pizza's done. So anyway, I'll talk more as I make more progress on this book. So let me tell you a bit more about the group we're working with here. Richard is romanticizing them pretty heavily, and I wanted to, since I got cut off by my pizza being ready the other night, I wanted to let you know who is in this classics group. I'm referring to pages 18 and 19. We have Henry Winter. He seems to be the leader of the group. He doesn't seem friendly. I'll just say that. And then we have Bunny, short for Edmund. I don't know how, but Bunny is loud and he is one of the first to speak to Richard. Then we have the best dressed, which is Francis Abernathy. Finally, we have twins, Charles and Camilla, and the twins are always together. Though I would say this group is always together. Like I said, Richard is romanticizing them. He's seeing the best aspects of them right now. And even when they're doing something wrong, which I feel like in under 100 pages I've already seen that happen, he doesn't recognize it as wrong. He's just happy to be in their presence. While I was reading last night, I did have a pretty big reaction, so I did want to give an update and say that the homophobic slurs are very hard to read. I know that it's showing how homophobic and bigoted a character is, but that doesn't change the fact that it was hard to read, and it does go on for a few pages. Not sure if there are more instances. Like I said, I haven't passed the 100-page mark yet, but those were hard to read. And of course, Richard doesn't say anything. Richard is wanting more than anything to be a part of this group. He is lying or being silent so as not to reveal too much about himself. He doesn't even want them to know where he comes from, that he's not super wealthy. And Richard does call himself obsessive, and you can definitely see that. And in the prologue, we know who is murdered, which I'll go ahead and say because it's on the first page. It's Bunny, and we know who did it. And so the story is not a who done it, but a why done it. We as the readers know that Richard is already going down this dark road, and he is unlikable. And then we're seeing these other characters, even though Richard is romanticizing them, we as the readers, they're unlikable. So the whole group is unlikable, at least to me. If you had a different experience, I would love to hear about that and why that is, but they seem all very unlikable, at least right now. So I did want to point that out, and that we're just trying to figure out why it happened. And it's an interesting read because I feel like books with magic and things, and this is just a dark book. It does definitely fit dark academia, and I would say it does, since this is, I think, the foundational text. I don't read many books like this, and it is definitely twisted. The tabs I have up here are just marking book 1 and book 2. I will hit book 2 on page, it is, let's see. Okay, book 1 ends on page 269, and book 2 picks up on page 275. So I believe we'll be seeing more of the classroom and how we get to what we saw in the prologue. I want to know how we got there. I want to know because this is crazy. It is October, so that means Amy's Crypt Halloween videos every weekend. Of course, I got their hoodie. I love it, and yeah, and so far I'm really enjoying the Halloween videos, but I need to get some serious reading done. I still have over 200 pages left of The Secret History, and I am enjoying it, but it's definitely disturbing, and I have had to take breaks. I do most of my reading late in the evening before bed, and that's been really difficult with this book because, like I said, it starts off with a murder and then you're finding out why these people did it, and it has to do a lot with obsession and with aesthetics and, you know, this elitism, this group of classics students who are just interesting and unlikable. But I have finished book one, and book one is everything leading up to the murder. Richard is a fascinating character for us to experience the story through because he's kind of just like, oh, that happened, okay, and just going along with everything. Then you have Henry seeming like the leader. He definitely embodies the classics group and all the literature and the languages. He knows, it seems like he knows the most about that and is really respected by their professor, Julian Morrow, who I did expect the professor to play a more, I don't believe this is a spoiler, but I expected there to be more of like classroom scenes and the professor to be playing more of an active role, but it really is the group. Tart is throwing in Latin phrases and words, which I mean, I don't really know, but that I think has kept true to the story and what these students are fascinated by and studying. And then of course the descriptions of the campus and nature are so lovely, chilling but lovely. While it is dark and disturbing, there have also been some kind of funny moments just because as a normal person listening to these rich students talk about things and what's their priorities, it's hard not to laugh, though I wouldn't say it's exactly comic relief or relief from the story because I feel like like I said, I just keep having to take breaks, so it still feels very serious all the time, at least for me. And I wonder for this book too, it seems like I've read, let's see, I've read over 20 pages of book two so far, and now we're dealing with the aftermath. I need to do some serious reading. I have a road trip coming up this weekend in a couple of days actually, so I would like to finish this before the road trip so that I can get this reading vlog out. I have more videos I want to do for October, so I am happy that I'm getting to this book finally, but it is a big book and I'm taking these breaks, so I will sit down now, make some more progress on this. And to go with my reading, I have Halloween Junior Mints. I love Junior Mints, so these are Halloween edition because the filling is black and orange. I am going to enjoy these and read some more of The Secret History. Have finished this crazy book and I really liked it. It is thrilling, it's long like I said, but I think it's deserving of all these pages. Donna Tartt knew exactly what she was doing with the pacing and with everything that needed to be said for these characters, for the development, for the suspense, and it is a wonderfully told story. I will give this, I think, 4 out of 5 stars. It's not a favorite for me and I don't feel I don't get the readability vibe from it, so I don't see myself rereading this in the future. So I wouldn't call it a new favorite, but I definitely understand how this book shaped the dark academia aesthetic. Though I will say, sorry, Maple's hitting the camera down here. I will say that it's ironic that this story, which is critiquing aesthetics and this kind of obsession, you can tell that she has a love for the classics and for these things as well. So it's not like hating on the concept in its entirety, but it is a critique. So I find it interesting how Dark Academia, as the aesthetic that it is, prioritizes like the outfits you wear and the stories you're reading and how you are discussing those stories. That is fascinating to me, but less about the Dark Academia aesthetic and more about this book and the ending. I was worried that book 2 was going to be a slog and that I would be dragging my feet through it. No. Crazy things happen, so keep reading. Oh my gosh, you won't want to put it down. I was surprised, and though some of it I feel like as a reader you glean more than Richard, our narrator, and that's intentional. We have, like I said, these aesthetics and Richard romanticizing all of these different characters. So then when the big event happens, then you see the aftermath, and maybe things aren't the way that Richard was seeing them. A lens of, oh, they can't do any wrong, and I'm so happy to be a part of this group. When that falls away, what do we see? What do we uncover? And it is definitely crazy. So I would highly recommend this if you haven't read it. This is deserving of the hype in my opinion. So I'm so happy to say that I have finally read and enjoyed The Secret History. And that is it for this reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you're having an amazing fall. Have a good one. Bye.